Episode 462. Level up, recruit, level up again, recruit again. The Happy Guild developed rapidly under this cyclical model, and its level-ups were broadcast across the system announcements. The rapid pace of early level-ups kept everyone's motivation for grinding sky high, and that seemingly endless list of applicants ensured that every time the guild leveled up, it could immediately be filled to its new member cap. More and more players bearing the Happy Guild's name appeared, spreading across every corner of the Glory continent, all busy with their guild tasks. Guilds and players across the entire server watched it all unfold. Each successive system announcement only fueled their envy and resentment. At this rate, the Happy Guild would reach level 5 and gain its guardian power well before midnight. If ordinary guilds were just feeling simple envy and resentment, the club guilds were a different story. In their eyes, the Happy Guild was a formidable rival. Watching it grow so rapidly, it's no use just comforting themselves with the fact that its members are still low level. They had to take action. Guilds come in all sizes. In moments like this, when everyone's feeling the pinch, most have learned to wait and see what the big three will do. But this time, the three major guilds remained conspicuously quiet, and the other guilds couldn't help but gossip about it. They knew that when Lord Grimm first appeared, these three major guilds had already clashed with him. Herbgarden got off relatively lucky, but Bluebrook Guild and Tyrannical Ambition, they both took a massive, humiliating fall. To this day, they're still relying on their old guard to salvage their reputations. They were already at the mid-level stage of level 40. In any other server, these two major guilds would be calling the shots. But here in the 10th server, they hadn't made a name for themselves at all, and were still struggling just to maintain their reputations. You have to admit, these two guilds' clearing efforts on the 10th server have been a pretty spectacular failure. The other guilds weren't doing much better. Lord Grimm had stolen almost all the limelight in the early stages. They were just a bit better off than Bluebrook Guild and Tyrannical Ambition. Those two guilds weren't just stagnant, they were actually losing ground.
Could it be they're already scared?
Many of the guilds watching the three major guilds' actions had come to this conclusion. What they didn't realize was that these three guilds had their own reservations. It was precisely because they knew exactly how powerful Lord Grimm was, because they knew his true identity, that they had to proceed with caution. The leaders of the three guilds were, in fact, already gathered together discussing their views. The speaker wasn't even a leader from the 10th server, but the true head of the three guilds. The leaders of the three major guilds, Spring Rain from Bluebrook Pavilion, Zhang Yu from Tyrannical Ambition, and Tian Nanxing from Herbgarden, were all being personally drawn into the 10th server's clearing efforts. The real tragedy was that even these top bosses were completely out of their depth when facing this particular opponent.
So what's the plan?
Chen Yilao had grabbed a random 10th server account. The three of them huddled together, watching the system announcements flash by again and again with news of the Happy Guild leveling up, their minds a mess of irritation.
Dealing with Lord Grimm isn't the key right now. The key is to break his guild's momentum.
Zhang Yu spoke through gritted teeth. He truly hated this man. Whether it was because of the team he supported, or because of the repeated beatdowns he'd suffered from him in the game.
Of course it is. The real question is how we're supposed to interrupt it.
Tiananxing finished speaking, and a heavy silence fell. If they'd had any ideas, the three of them wouldn't have needed to gather and discuss it in the first place.
Kill some people, stir up a little terrorism.
Zhang Yu said.
Not much use. We can't go and confront them directly. So, how many alt accounts do you guys have over in the new server? I'd say at most a dozen or 20. They're already a 400-strong level 4 guild. Even if they band together a little, what real use could such a small number of people be?
Spring Breeze Old said.
Besides, an attack like that would be a dead giveaway it was us, wouldn't it?
Tiananxing said.
We don't have a justifiable cause.
This was a major burden for guilds like theirs, like Zhang Yu's. They had to have a justifiable reason for everything. They couldn't just resort to any means necessary.
Or we could send some alt accounts to infiltrate a few guilds, and then engineer conflicts between those guilds and Lord Grimm's group.
Tian Nanxing suddenly said.
Why don't we just infiltrate Lord Grimm's group and go stir up some trouble?
Zhang Yu asked.
It's not that simple.
Spring Venerable let out a bitter laugh.
Don't forget who our opponent is. There's no trick he hasn't seen before. Trying to infiltrate Happy to stir up trouble, that's far too childish a move. But infiltrating other guilds to stir up trouble, that's a plan I think could work. Lord Grimm is forming a guild, Many people might leave their current guilds to join him, which will create a lot of discontent. We should keep an eye on those guilds and use them to stir up trouble. As long as we can turn Happy into the enemy of every other guild, our actions will be justified.
We can still send new recruits to infiltrate Happy, have them lay low, and when the conflict erupts, let them be the ones to light the fuse.
Also, the Happy Guild is growing so fast, its members are bound to get a bit full of themselves. If the atmosphere turns toxic, we might not even need to stir the pot. If they start causing trouble among themselves, that'll make things even easier for us.
Right. The people we send should focus on stirring things up in those areas. There's no need for them to actually become the ones holding the guns.
As Chun Yi spoke, the three of them tossed ideas back and forth, their thinking gradually expanding, and their schemes becoming more and more ingenious. After all, they'd each run their guilds for years. The fact that they'd grown into the three biggest in all of Glory wasn't just down to their team's performance in the Pro League. It also couldn't be ignored that these three guild leaders had serious skills of their own. When it came to guild warfare, they were absolutely first-rate experts in Glory. When it came to fighting the Happy Guild, they wouldn't even consider competing for dungeon records. That would be a pure contest of strength. They knew they were no match for Yi Chu in a straight fight, so they had to come up with a plan that avoided a direct clash of individual skill. After some discussion, a plan had taken shape. Now it was time to put it into action. They each went to find their own guild members to issue instructions.